Our man Montes Curat visited the last major car show of the year, the Los Angeles Auto Show. The U.S. market, and especially the California market, he says, are key for automakers around the world. So, not surprisingly, there were 30 global debuts and 20 North American premieres. It was a challenge to see them all.
Dazu noch einmal 20 Nordamerika-Premieren zu bestaunen. Ob ich alle schaffe, weiß ich allerdings noch nicht.
The Los Angeles Auto Show is designed more for the general public rather than for the experts of the automotive world. It always draws thousands of car enthusiasts. BMW's M4 GTS made its North American debut. It's the group's second most expensive model in the U.S., and it caused quite a stir. BMW's Hildegard Wortmann says if anyone thought cars had lost their emotional appeal, they just need to watch visitors looking at the M4 GTS. Porsche also had plenty to pump up the adrenaline, unveiling two new models. First, the Cayman GT4 Club Sport. The 283-kilowatt mid-engine supercar is designed for club and amateur racing and is not certified for public roads. Sales started immediately after unveiling. Also making its international debut was the revamped Porsche 911 Targa. Porsche stands for a certain kind of lifestyle, a lifestyle that suits California, says Porsche's North America CEO Klaus Zellmer. Indulgence, great design, innovation, all these things go well with California. And the 911, and especially the Targa, incorporates all these things. Like the Carrera 4 and 4S, the new Targa models have a more compact twin-turbo engine, which replaces the naturally aspirated motors. There are also subtle changes to the exterior. Fiat has revived its 124 Spider with a new model based on the Mazda MX-5. And Kia unveiled its new Sportage. Montes has now left the showground for a short while to step out into the beautiful November weather of L.A. and to take a spin. He's going to try out Volkswagen's new electric Golf, the next model for the American market.
Den E-Golf des nächsten Modelljahres für den US-amerikanischen Markt von Volkswagen.
The car moves off almost without a sound. Montes says one battery charge will take you 83 miles. That's 140 to 150 kilometers. And that's pretty good. But the best thing about this car is that VW doesn't have to worry about emissions. That was the overriding subject at the VW press conference in LA, not surprisingly. USA boss Michael Horn promised to do everything necessary to win back customers' confidence.
As the CEO of Volkswagen Group of America, I can tell you nothing is more important to me personally than the satisfaction of our customers and to making things right with all those who have put their faith and trust in Volkswagen over the years.
VW unveiled the new Beetle Dune, a street car with an off-road exterior. It's a cool throwback to the Baja Bug, complete with chunky rear spoiler and aluminum skid plates. Inside, the Beetle Dune comes with sportier seats, featuring optional contrasting stitching, as well as a leather-wrapped steering wheel. The Dune will be available both as a coupe and a convertible. And another convertible made its global bow in LA, the Range Rover Evoque. Infiniti unveiled the QX30 crossover based on the Mercedes GLA. Mercedes presented the GLS, S Cabrio, and SL Roadster. Lamborghini was not at the show, but unveiled the Huracan LP580-2 at a private event in LA. The rear-wheel drive version of the hugely popular Huracan offers 426 kilowatts of power. Lamborghini CEO Stefan Winkelmann says more than 50% of the super sports car segment features rear-wheel drive vehicles, and Lamborghini wants to serve this market. Although the company's unique selling proposition is all-wheel drive, Lamborghini still wants to continue to market its two-wheel drive version. Toyota paid homage to the Back of the Future movies, showing off a modified Mirai fuel cell vehicle, complete with a Mr. Fusion power plant and fake flux capacitor. But it wasn't all just science fiction. Toyota also presented the fourth-generation Prius. 90 kilowatts of system power output allow the hybrid to go from 0 to 100 kilometers in 10.6 seconds. The Prius is the first model based on Toyota's new global architecture. It's been totally redesigned, and the driving experience has been greatly improved. Mata says there's one type of vehicle that is simply a must in the U.S., and therefore at American auto shows, and that's the pickup truck. A petite vehicle that could surely be squeezed into any parking space. Not. Anyone got a ladder? It makes you wonder why the Japanese build such small cars, he says. This would fit between any cars, or even over the top. Under the hood, a mere 8-cylinder, 6.4-liter engine with just 410 horsepower. He had to look up the fuel consumption online, as he couldn't find it anywhere here. He found that it uses an average 17 liters for 100 kilometers, which he doesn't quite believe. He thinks if cars like this can be licensed in the U.S., then what's all the fuss about the diesel emission scandal? Do you know what a Scoville is? It's a scale that measures the spicy heat of chili peppers and similar foods. And the spiciest new Seat model is the Cupra. The engine boasts nearly 200 horsepower, and it gets a top speed of more than 230 kilometers per hour. The Cupra can zip from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 6.7 seconds. The first Cupra model rolled off the assembly line nearly 10 years ago. This model boasts a 141 kilowatt engine, the XDS electronic differential lock, and adjustable damping controls. These features really set the Cupra apart. It has a 1.8-liter turbocharged gasoline engine, and the engineers have improved the combustion process and increased the torque. All this means better performance. And the Cupra is fun to drive, too, especially out in the countryside. Auto tester Reinhold Deisenhofer says driving the Ibiza Cupra reminds him of the first Golf GTI. It was light and powerful, a great combination. But the Cupra is even better, and it's a lot of fun to drive. The interior design is conservative. Everything's laid out precisely. And there are lots of custom options available. For example, the ventilation rings come in different colors. So does the seat upholstery.
In verschiedenen Farben gestalten oder auch die Sitzbezüge farblich unterschiedlich bestellen.
Outside, there have been a few changes. Take a look at the newly designed grille. The car's got a real sporty look. You can adjust the chassis at the touch of a button with the new dynamic chassis control feature. The XDS electronic limited slip differential improves the Cupra's stability, especially in curves. Reinhardt says the new Ibiza Cupra offers lots of improvements. It's easier to drive in the city, but can also have a more sporty feel if desired. The Ford Fiesta ST or the Mini Cooper S look more brawny by comparison, and the exhaust note is a little muted. The Scottish Highlands provide the perfect backdrop for a ride in a very special antique car. At close to 6 meters in length, the Bentley 8-liter was the biggest passenger car made in Britain in its day. Between 1930 and 1932, exactly 100 of the handcrafted models were produced. Our classic car expert Christoph Bauer says that when you hear the name Bentley today, you automatically think of fast luxury sedans or classic GTs. And this Bentley 8-liter could be called the forefather of the modern Bentleys. At the time, they sold it as the world's finest car, as the perfect mix of comfortable, quiet city car and quick, powerful sports car. Though Christoph feels that when searching for a parking spot, 6 meters is just too big for a city car. From his earlier jaunt in a 4.5-liter, Christoph knows that big cars are a Bentley tradition, and the 8-liter also traded on its brand name, a relatively new concept at the time. That's because in the Roaring '20s, Bentley had become famous for producing street-legal race cars. By 1930, the brand had clocked up 5 victories in the 24-hour Le Mans race. Christoph tells us that the 8-liter's predecessors, which had proven winners in Le Mans, were famous for the roar of their motor sport engines. But the 8-liter's designer, W.O. Bentley, wanted it to be different. His motto was, "Silence is golden," and Christoph thinks he succeeded because there's little sound to be heard. A bit of engine noise and a bit of wind noise. But for a car from the 30s, it's very silent.
Für so ein Auto aus den 30er Jahren, very silent.
Along with the purposely built 21-inch rims and special tires, the extremely heavy chassis makes for a smooth and comfortable ride. Even without its body, the Bentley weighs close to 1,700 kilos. Christoph says that with the body, the vehicle weighs at least 2.5 tons, yet Bentley also wanted its top speed to be no less than 160 kilometers an hour. So the car needed good brakes, which is why all 4 wheels were fitted with vacuum servo-assisted drum brakes. Futuristic technology at the time. Back then, Autocar magazine said the Bentley 8-liter possesses qualities that make you forget it's a machine. In the early 1930s, Bentley was ahead of its time. But these days, no one would describe this juggernaut of a car as having precision steering or agile handling. Christoph finds driving the 8-liter a strenuous endeavor. In 1930, the motorized chassis alone cost 1,850 British pounds. That's the equivalent of almost 400,000 euros today. Those who could afford such luxury usually ordered a chauffeur along with the car.
Thanks a lot, Pablo.
Christoph says while driving this car is an experience, the real feeling of luxury is found in the back. Here, there's fine leather, exotic wood, and endless legroom, hardly surprising in a car that's almost 6 meters long. And the wheelbase is, let's measure it, 1, 2, 3, 4 meters. A modern VW Polo could fit in between. This is the Continental Touring Saloon, the biggest body you could get for the 8-liter. Technical highlights include the ribs of the radiator grille, which open and close depending on the temperature. Long, semi-elliptic leaf springs and double-acting dampers ensure optimal ride quality. The 8-liter boasts fabulous design and top-quality workmanship, right down to the tiniest details. Inside the car has the genteel flair of a British gentleman's club. It's a symphony of wood and leather. No doubt about it, the Bentley 8-liter is impressive from any angle. And here, under the hood, Christoph points out the huge 6-cylinder engine with 8 liters of cubic capacity. He says Walter Owen Bentley's philosophy was there is no replacement for displacement. So after building engines with 3, 4.5, and 6.5 liters of cubic capacity, the 8-liter was his crowning glory.
der Bentley-Schöpfung, den 8-Liter-Motor.
This one here, with the ID number YF5001, was the first 8-liter engine Bentley ever built. Now it looks pretty old-fashioned, but in its day it was state-of-the-art. The engine came with a 5-year warranty and was seen as relatively maintenance-free. It only needed to be completely taken apart and cleaned after 15,000 kilometers.
Musste man den Motor komplett zerlegen und reinigen.
Special twin carburetors feed the huge straight-six engine, 4 valves per cylinder. Aluminum pistons and a twin spark ignition help the motor generate an impressive 220 horsepower. The crankcase and the oil pan are made from electron, a magnesium alloy. Many of the engine's component parts already had a proven track record in Bentley's race cars. Smooth and reliable, the 8-liter delivers maximum output at a relaxed 3,300 RPM.
Der 8-Liter Bentley war damals wahrscheinlich wirklich das beste Auto der Welt.
Christoph says that the Bentley 8-liter was probably the best car of its day. But unfortunately, the stock market had crashed. The Great Depression of the 1930s also affected Bentley's elite clientele. But Walter Owen Bentley refused to acknowledge that. He spared no expense in the construction of the 8-liter and drove his company into financial ruin. In 1931, the insolvent Bentley was taken over by Rolls-Royce, thereby ridding Rolls-Royce of its toughest and technically superior competitor. The 8-liter is the last model Walter Owen Bentley ever built, and it was the best luxury car of its day. So it's definitely a milestone in automotive history.
Ein Meilenstein der Automobilgeschichte.
But to buy one in good condition today will set you back over €1 million.